Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm joined by Danielle Steers. Danielle is currently playing Lady in the Cher Show, which is on an extensive UK and Ireland tour. Link for tickets is down below. Hope you enjoy this chat.
Sure. So I'm Danielle Steers and I'm playing Lady in the Cher Show. So we have three Chers, Babe, Lady, Star, and they're all at different parts of her life. So I'm like middle Cher. So I play Cher from sort of mid-20s up until sort of really early 30s when she was going through all of her stuff with Sonny and the divorce and things like that. So you get a really fun part of the show.
You do. I've already seen it twice, as you know, but amazing. So everyone should go and see it. But what kind of, it's obviously it's Cher, but what attracted you to the part?
Aside from it being Cher, obviously, I'm a massive fan of Cher. I remember I was working in New York and I remember seeing that the Cher Show was on Broadway. And I was like, oh my gosh, if that show ever comes to London, I have to be in it. I just have to be in it. Like the costumes, the songs, just everything just makes me I just wanted to be in it. And I wanted to play Lady because I felt like she got a really cracking role. So when I found out it was auditioning, I messaged my agent straight away and I was like, you have to get me in. I have to be seen for Lady. I have to be in the show. But they're just such iconic songs and Cher's just such a strong, empowering woman, and she's been through a lot, and it's so lovely to be able to tell her story on stage every night.
Yes, and you've kind of already mentioned it, that you kind of share the role with kind of different stages of life. How did you kind of work that with Millie and Debbie kind of in rehearsals and everything?
Yeah, so obviously we have to be one person, so it's really important that we come together and be one. So it was sort of doing our own homework and finding our own Cher. Because Cher herself has morphed over the years, and then also watching each other and taking little things from each other so that we could sort of be cohesive. But it's been a really good creative process, and we've just been there for each other, and we have such a strong bond off stage as well, which I think really helps and shines through on stage. We have our little ritual that we do before the show so that we can connect and be one, I guess. But they are just dreams to work with. They're amazing.
Which is good. But then, as you kind of, how do you go about crafting that your own kind of? Obviously, you're playing, like you say, sharing it. But how do you craft your own version of Cher?
Yeah, it's been a lot of watching videos, listening to all her records, trying to imitate her. But then also, we don't want to become caricatures of Cher. And no one will ever be Cher. And so it's just taking little flavors and little essences of Cher, like the sort of like her hand movements, her gestures, her little awkward claps that she does. And the voice is really hard to get down as well. But I think we've all done pretty well at sort of creating our version. And I think it's nice that we all have different elements of Cher so that when we come together, we can be one.
I agree. It's good. It works really well for anyone who's not seen it yet. But kind of like you say, because even when then you're not the main star, you're kind of on stage sometimes, aren't you? Kind of like.
Yeah, we're always sort of like onlookers. It's like we like to look at it as though stars sort of watching her life back on like a VHS. Yeah. So we're seeing clips and we're sat on the outside looking in and watching. But it's really nice that we are all on stage at the same time and we come together and we have those moments where, you know, we're in like the dressing room and it is the three of us and it's literally Cher having a conversation with herself and the other two are like the sort of angel and the devil, like on her shoulder. It's really clever. Rick Ellis has done a fantastic job at like the concept is really, really great.
And I said the same thing to Millie, the same question, because you've obviously both been in Six. That is there more of a pressure playing someone who's alive rather than someone who's died 400 years ago?
Yes, absolutely. And like you say, like she's not just like recently deceased or anything. Like she is very much alive and kicking, and she's performing and she's still out there in the public eye. So that is terrifying. And you know, we've had our comments that have not been very nice, and you just have to sort of take it with a pinch of salt, really. You're not going to please everyone. But we're having a ball, and everyone that's come to see the show so far, I think, has loved it. So that's all that matters to us.
Very true. And yes, I agree about the comments as well, because the people, I don't get people. And same with the people that, like, the people who walked out expecting Cher to some people. What do you kind of do to get yourself into character? I guess kind of the costume, wig helps, but what do you kind of do to prepare?
Oh gosh, I mean, the wig is like the one thing for me. I wish we'd have had the wigs in rehearsals. We sort of got them like really late on, but that is a massive thing. I mean, she's known for her wigs and her hair, so the wig helps a lot. But then myself, Millie, and Debbie, we meet backstage at the top of the show, and we have our little saying. There's in burlesque, Cher says, wagon wheel Watusi from the top. So we have this little thing where before our show we go 1, 2, 3 wagon wheel Watusi, and then to get into our Cher voice, and then we run the first scene like quite quickly so that we can find our Cher voice before we actually go on stage, and we're not just going on stage like cold. Do that together so that we can sort of hear each other and clock in, but that really gets us into character.
Yeah, very good. Do you have a kind of favorite track in the show?
Oh, so many. I love Bang Bang. I love singing Bang Bang, but also I really love singing Song for the Lonely at the end of Act 1 with the other two girls. That's one of my absolute favourite moments. Yeah.
Both sides. Mine is Still Living in a House Divided. It's an obsession.
Oh, it's great.
It's such a bop. As soon as you like the bit when your voice kicked in as well. Oh, super. Super. We need a cast album. We already need it.
We need a cast album. Fingers crossed.
We'll get on it. Someone will get on it. Kind of, obviously, kind of, we were kind of touched on it a little bit, but kind of you and the diversity of the cast as well. Something that's massively important, obviously, generally. How kind of important to you is that?
I think it's massively important. It's so wonderful to see women of colour playing this role, because I think people forget as well that Cher is actually mixed race. She's Armenian, and people just forget that. And I think it's so wonderful. And our cast in general, in terms of, you know, colour, sexuality, everything is very diverse. And I think it's wonderful. We've got a really wonderful team, creative team as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important for, you know, little ones to look up on stage and see people that look like them, because I know I appreciated it when I was younger, and I didn't really see that many people that looked like me when I was younger. So yeah, I think it's super important. And yeah, girl power.
Yes, always. This is a difficult question that Millie struggled with, but I'm going to frame it. If Cher was me right now, what would you ask her?
Oh gosh. I would ask her if I could borrow all of her wigs. Nothing to do with her life. No, I'd love to chat with her about her life, actually, because she's had so many ups and downs. But I would definitely ask her if I could just spend like a couple of hours in her wig wardrobe. Yeah.
I bet she's got like thousands though, everywhere. So many.
It wasn't a particularly deep question.
No, that's still a good answer though. Another question that I discovered earlier, because I was talking to this earlier today. I spoke to Dom, Battle of Hell Dom.
Yes.
And I threw this question to him, and I'm going to throw it to you as well. If you could have dinner with any of the characters you've played in the past, excluding Cher, because that'd be probably the obvious one, who would you choose to invite?
Any of the characters that I've played?
You've played, yeah, in your career.
I think it would. Oh, no, it would have to be Catherine Parr, wouldn't it? Because she's quite an iconic woman, and I feel like she'd have a lot to teach me, and I'd have a lot of questions for her. So, yeah, we'll go with Kathy P.
That is a good answer. For people who do not know,
what did
I can't remember. It sounds terrible, isn't it? I've done another interview in between, which sounds terrible. You'll have to watch it. It's on my YouTube channel. Oh no, he said Collins from Rent.
Oh yeah,
of course. That's quite an obvious one. But also, for people who do not know, you have an amazing album out as well, which is available at the merchandise desk. Can you tell me a little bit about that? So people who may want to
Yeah. So the album came about, I did Bat Out of Hell a few years ago. And the album was sort of a love letter to the Jim Steinman Meatloaf fans and the fans of Bat Out of Hell, the show. So I sort of picked my favourite Steinman songs and then reworked them. And yeah, it's been on sale. I think it came out just over a year ago now, but it is on sale front of house, which is really lovely to have the support of the company, the Cher Show as well. Which is really, really wonderful. But yeah, it's a great album. It's sort of got a mix of like different genres in there as well. Even though they're all Jim Steinman songs, they're different feels to the songs, which is really cool.
It's very, very good. So fully recommend that people who haven't got it get that as well.
Yes.
Download it as well if people are modern people.
Yeah, on Spotify as well.
Amazing. Now I have some, I call them quickfire questions. It depends how quick you want to answer them. These are more just about you generally.
Okay.
First one was, what was the first piece of theatre in your life that you can remember seeing?
Oh my gosh, that I can remember seeing. I think like Panto, Jack and the Beanstalk, when I was like really, really, really small, and I just remember being terrified of the giant. I think my mum sat right next to me. Looking for approval. Is that right? Yeah. Right.
And what would be your favourite piece of theatre you've seen to date?
Ooh, that's a really hard one. I loved Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice was amazing. Oh, la, 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 la. I feel like I've seen something recently which was Back to the Future. Loved Back to the Future. I mean, just for the 3 minutes of the show. I mean, wow. Yeah.
I've not seen it yet. I need to get on it.
Yes.
Do you have either to work in or go as an audience member a favourite theatre generally?
A favourite theatre? The Colosseum is beautiful. I loved performing at the Colosseum. And also the Sunderland Empire. We were there a couple of weeks ago. That is a really stunning theatre. Loved that.
Yeah, very good. And if you weren't in theatre, what do you think you'd be doing with your life?
Oh it's a really hard question. I hate this question. Honestly, I can't really do anything else.
You probably can.
I'd be fun. I don't know. I think I'd still maybe something to do with something still creative, like drawing or painting or makeup or something in that world, I think.
Something to do with Cher's wigs. That's what it'd be.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably going to say your mum because she's in the room, but who are your biggest inspirations?
My mum. Of course, my mum. My mum's my number one. But also Shirley Bassey. I mean, she's like, how old? Like in her 80s, and she's still cracking out them tunes. Yeah. Shirley Bassey, Cher, obviously. And also at the minute, Adriana DeBosa is just inspirational and such a I bow down to her. She's really phenomenal.
Yes, I agree. If you could only listen to one album for the rest of time, which album would you choose?
Oh, that's a really hard question. What's my go-to? I think it would have to be Journey.
Why not?
I forgot what the album's called, but it's like quite an obscure album, and it's got like loads of incredible songs on. Like Don't Stop Believing isn't on there. Like it's got like other really cool songs. So definitely that Journey album. Yeah.
This doesn't have to be career based, but what would be one thing on your bucket list?
One thing on my bucket list. I would love to perform at Carnegie Hall.
Yes, well, to make that happen. I can't make that happen, but someone out there will make it happen.
That'd be great. Thanks.
There we go. We'll send you over. But they can't keep you. They can't keep you. It's not allowed. This is a more deep question. What does theatre mean to you?
Oh, inclusivity, love. One of my favourite things about being on stage is looking out and seeing people's faces and how we make them feel. I got a bit emotional earlier. There was a little boy called Harry on the front row, and he was looking up and he was just having the best time. And I was just like this show, like, that means a lot, that you can do something and potentially just change people's, not lives, but their days, their weeks, their months, make their year, you know. And I looked out as well at one point in the show today, and I saw some ladies crying, and I was like, oh, no, we did that. Like, and they were really emotional, and I was like, the way that you can just tell a story and people can escape for 2 hours of their lives, I think is really magical. So, and that's why I love doing what I love doing.
Very good. And what would be the best piece of advice you'd say you've ever been given?
Be kind to everyone, because you just never know who someone could become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very, very true. My final question for you today is the simple one. Why should anyone come see the Cher Show?
Because I'm in it. I'm joking.
It's true though.
I'm joking. No, I think you'll learn stuff about Cher that you didn't know. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll want to get up and dance, you'll want to sing along. It's just a really raw, heartfelt, feel good show, and you get to dance and sing along at the end like you're at a concert. You
do. That is a very true. It's very, very true, and that wraps it up brilliantly. So thank you for your time. The Cher Show is on till next March, I think, currently. So fingers crossed it goes to the West End and beyond after that. And the album's coming out. But you're amazing in it, and thank you for your time. Hope your show this evening goes well, and I look forward to seeing you in Nottingham next.
Yes, thanks for having me.